Hi everyone, good morning. I'm so happy to be back with all of you. I know that last week it was a little bit confusing because I wasn't recording the videos, but this week I might alternate between the videos, but for the most part you'll see me. Again, if you forgot my name is Ms. Nevares. We are in lesson 12 this week. So lesson 12 pretty much just is made for the assessment 12A, and we're going to talk a little bit about it in a little bit. But first, I want to make some announcements. So, as you can see, I don't want any of you to feel overwhelmed. I know that it seems like we got a lot of assignments, but that's why I wanted to create these announcements so you could be sure of what you need to be doing. So, um, first, I assigned you the homework 04/23/2020 last week, and I gave you up to Sunday, which is yesterday, to turn in the homework at 11:59. Some of my students did request for me to keep it open a little bit more, so I will leave it open until today. At 5 p.m. it will close. Okay, the only reason why I'm gonna leave it open is because I've seen that a lot of you have not turned it in, and I want to give you an opportunity to boost up your grade. However, since it is late and I do not think that it's fair for those that did do it on time, the assignment tells me at what time you turned it in. So those of you that still turn it in today, you can still get a good grade, but the highest you can get is a 75. So in this case, if you were to get 100, 100 is equal to 75. And this is only to keep it fair. You should be able to make up time for all the homework. If for some reason that it's personal or something that, it's really urgent that you can't do the work, I can understand. Just let me know. But you can't just tell me, oh, I'm not going to make it on time because of whatever. It's everyone makes time for it, so you should be able to make time for it, and don't think about starting a lie or anything like that. If you do give me a reason, I will reach out to your parents to make sure that that's the reason why. So just please be keeping up with the homework. So the number 2 was an alternative assignment. So some of you have been messaging me that you're failing or you're not satisfied with the grade that you have in the class right now, and I made up some makeup assignments that would make up some of the grades that you had with Ms. De Los Santos. So those were the makeup assignments. There was 2 assignments. There was a summary assignment and then a conflict assignment. So some of you are asking, well, what if I only have one grade that I want to replace? Well, then just do one. If you were to do both of them and you have, let's say you only have 160 or 150, and you're going to do one of the assignments to make that up. And if you want to, you can do the other assignment, and I'll just distribute the points that you get into your other grades so it can boost them up. But that's up to you. That's your decision if you want to do it. I mean, if you're being smart, I would take advantage of this. I would definitely do it. They're really easy assignments. You only have to give me a couple sentences and you're done and you get your grade replaced. So please don't let that slide. It's due today at 11:59. If for some reason you need extra time, just message me. I'm here to help you. I'm here to do everything that I can to help you pass to 8th grade, okay? So number 3, so that's what I mentioned at the beginning. So for this lesson, our big assignment for this week is assessment 12A. So this is like the only one big assignment we're going to have. I know that we have a lot of deadlines today, but just remember, technically, if you're not going to do the makeup assignments, the only thing you have to worry about being turned in is homework 04/23/2020. If you turned it in, then you have nothing to worry. If you don't have to do makeup assignments, and the only thing you have to worry about is assessment 12A. So assessment 12A opens today, right now at 9 a.m., and it will stay open all the way through Wednesday. That doesn't mean you should be doing it on Wednesday at 11 because it's going to take you a while. Okay, right now I'm going to review the assignment because I know that a lot of you are going to be wondering how to do it, and I just want to make it as easy as possible for all of you. So again, assessment 12A is going to be a test grade, and it's going to open up today at 9 a.m. and it will close on Wednesday at 11:59. So you have all of those days to prepare to catch up with your readings. Y'all need to make sure that you're keeping up with your readings, okay? Because a lot of our exit tickets, a lot of our work is going to come from the advanced chapters. If some of you maybe need a tracker for me to keep up with what chapter you should be in, make sure to message me, and then if I get a couple messages, then I'll make sure to be posting like what chapter we're supposed to be in every lesson. But just make sure that you're keeping up with your readings. Get ahead, get yourself ahead of the game like that. Your assignments come in, you get them out of the way. Okay, it's not time to procrastinate. We have a couple of weeks left of school, and this is the time to make it or break it. So if some of you are on the borderline, this is the time whether you're going to be able to pass or you're going to fail. So make the right decisions. So now I'm going to open up assessment 12A, which is the one that opens up today. I have it already over here pulled out. So I'm going to read the instructions. The instructions are asking us to answer the following questions to compare and contrast Anderson. So this is the author of Fever 1793. This is the one where we're already in chapter 12, okay? And we are going to compare and contrast what the author in Fever 1793 has provided us with historic facts. And then we also are reading the book An American Plague by Murphy. So these are two books. If some of you are confused, let me make it clear. We're reading two books. In one of them, we're supposed to be in chapter 4, and in the other one, you should be around chapter 12. But for right now, if you're around 10, 11, you're fine. Just make sure that you catch up. So we're going to be comparing these two authors, the author of Fever 1793 and the one that wrote An American Plague. So both of them give us historical facts. So of course, Anderson's Fever 1793 is a novel. It's more of like a personal experience, but they're still providing us with the historical facts. And then Murphy's a little bit more factual. It's still coming from someone's perspective, but it's giving us a little bit more straight up facts. So both of these list historical facts, and we want to know what facts have they brought up on both books. So this is the main point of the assignment. So what did they talk about in Fever 1793 that was a historical fact that was also mentioned in An American Plague? So that's the whole point of the assignment. So in order to succeed in this assignment, you have to have the following things. So you have to be able to provide me with historical facts about 1793. So where in the book did you find it? Page 80, page 100. If you found it in a page, make sure that you write in the page. And then if let's say, oh, well, I remember I put as an example in both Fever 1793 and An American Plague, the government is shooting canyons to purify the air. So as we mentioned, in the Fever 1793, they're talking about how they're shooting the canyons and they're trying to purify the air, because at that point, well, they don't know that that doesn't help the air, but in that moment they think that's what's gonna work. Remember, this is in 1793. They didn't have much technology. They didn't have much idea of how to really deal with the virus. So this was their way of dealing with it. So, or trying to protect the air, clean the air. And this is something that actually is mentioned by Murphy in An American Plague as well. So in that case, I said, well, they mentioned the canyons in 1793, in Fever 1793, and they also mentioned it in An American Plague. So that's initially what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do throughout this assignment. So you also need to be able, of course, to provide me the facts of An American Plague. So here's where there's a little bit optional thing that you can do. So let's say you find two things that are common in 1793 and An American Plague, but then you can't find a third one. You also have a chance to either look up a medical article or a medical journal or a historical journal, something that's going to end with .edu, government, gov, that can be found from a university. All those are reliable resources, but you have to make sure that you don't give me something that is in Wikipedia or something that is from someone's opinion and it's not really factual. Okay, it has to be something that is published by someone who's actually known, that knows the information. And then at the very end, you have multiple choice questions. So first we start off with the historical facts section. So here, each example has two parts. So you're going to technically give me 3 examples, and each example has 2 parts. So example 1, you're going to give me a historical fact included in 1793. So then you're going to go through your Fever in 1793 novel, and you're going to find a historical fact. Maybe how are they describing the yellow fever? Maybe what are they doing to resolve it that you might have remembered that they mentioned in An American Plague? or did you know that you've read in a journal, you've seen in something throughout the lessons that relates back to it. So you give me the fact from Fever 1793. I just typed in the letters because if not, I can't move on to the next page, but don't type that. So in number one, you're going to give me the fact that you find in Fever 1793. You're going to tell me what page you found it. And then you can either give me the quote or you can write down the sentence and just cite. So citing means you're going to tell me what page you found it in. And then question number two goes along with question number one. So once you've given me the historical facts, so for example, here I'm going to say, Maddie says that they're using canyons to purify the air. Okay, so that's the fact, the historical fact that I found in Fever 1793. And then I know that I read it in an American Plague as well. So then I can hear, right here, I can type in an example one and question two. I can write down, Murphy describes that in the middle of the city, there are firing canyons in order to purify the air. There you go. Both of them go along with each other. So I'm done with that first example. And then you're going to move on to example two. So example two is going to be question 3 and 4. And it's the same thing. You're going to give me another historical fact from Fever 1793. And then you're going to tell me, confirm that it was mentioned in an American Plague as well, or you found it in a reliable source. And same thing. So it's going to be the same thing for example 3. Again, you give me the historical fact found in Fever 1793, and then again, you give me where you found it in an American Plague or in another reliable source. So technically, you only have 3 questions. It's just it has 2 parts to it. So even here, I wrote it for you. Questions 1 and 2 go together. Questions 3 and 4 go together, and 5 and 6 go together. So then you reach the bottom, and there's a next button. So you click the next, and then the last 2 parts of the assignments are these 2 written responses. So the only lengthy one is pretty much number 7. So of course you have to answer in complete sentences. I don't want to see, oh, I don't know, IDK, oh, I didn't read the book. If you type in those type of things, I'm going to send a screenshot to your parents and I'm going to show them exactly what you're giving me, because that's being lazy, okay? You need to try, you need to do your best. If you are struggling, then send me a message. I'll help you out. So number 7 is asking, to what extent did you find Anderson's? Again, I put the author of Fever 1793 in case you don't remember. So to what extent did Anderson's novel to be true portrayal of what happened during the epidemic? So here what they're saying is portrayal means how she's showing or depicting or describing the epidemic, like they're telling you. So how is she describing the epidemic, the yellow fever? What is she showing? Maybe you could talk about the bells. You could talk about what they're doing with the bodies or how people are reacting to it. Those are a lot of things that you could talk about, how she's portraying it. And if you believe that it's a true portrayal, if you think that she's actually doing a good job at showing how the epidemic is taking over the city. And then in what ways, if any, does she add or alter historical records to write her novel? So right here, what they mean by alter historical records, I mean, do you think she's lying a little bit, or she's trying to add more than she has to make it seem more interesting? Or do you think she's actually being accurate to it? So if you think, oh, I think she's altering things because, let's say I read an article of a reliable source here and it said that many people didn't die, or it said that it didn't come from mosquitoes. Of course, these are just things that I'm just coming up with. But if you were to find a source that is reliable and you think that she's lying about it or not really being truly accurate to it, then you could write it there. And you have to answer in at least 3 complete sentences. And then the last one's pretty easy. So what other related research questions might you ask to further your research and investigate the epidemic that Anderson describes in Fever 1793? So what kind of research question would you come up to investigate a little bit more about the yellow fever that they're describing in Fever 1793? So maybe you want to find out why mosquitoes were carrying the yellow fever. How did it develop? Is yellow fever still a thing now? Is there a vaccine, or what kind of treatment did they come up with? You know, it could be anything that you think should be more looked into based on what information you're receiving from 1793. And for that one, you only have to give me 1 question and then you're done. After you're done, you submit. and you can either get a receipt or it's up to you. So I hope that this helps you out. If you have any questions, I will be available. So